It is the last day of our 5-day track car build challenge presented by Koenig Wheels and Toyo Tires.
You can see Peter's trying to be all pro spec here, making a list. Personally, I don't really care about this stuff. I just want to get down to here to hit mad VTAC, yo.
The anticipation is building, and as you can see, there's a lot of work to do. So we're gonna get started on the radiator because we've already looked at it, and it looks like it's gonna be a lot of work, some customization required just because we're running a full-size rad.
Say hello to your full-width K-Swap radiator from CSF. This is designed to fit into EG and EK Civics as well as DC2 Integras. Meant to be a direct fit, so it uses the top and bottom mounts. We've run into some issues that Peter will explain for you in a second. Just some quick specs. It's 2-row, 42 mil wide, high capacity B-tube. So it uses their B-tube technology that we explained to you, or actually Ravi from CSF explained to you in one of our BRZ videos. So go check that one out. Pete will probably drop a little click button here for more information on that. So Peter, tell us what the problem is.
The advantage of running a full-size rad is we're always gonna stay cool at the track. If you put a half rad in, it's much easier, but you're just not gonna be 100% safe, in my opinion, and Dave's as well, running it at the track in terms of overheating. So that's why we went with this. And the issue we're running into is we're using the K-tuned power steering Relocation kit, which moves the power steering pump from up top down to here.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that means if we try to mount this in the direct spot with the mounts that that CSF has built in for the EK, we would hit this.
Okay.
So we've decided to cut those off, and thankfully K-tuned provides some custom brackets to make mounts. So we're working on that, and what we're gonna do is actually shift the radiator over to the left side so it'll clear our power steering pump and still bolt in. Look at the tuning we're doing here.
Yeah, serious effort going
Got
on
our
over here.
K-tuned custom mounts going in. Normally you'd screw them in, but we're welding them because we're, I don't know.
Your big shots.
We just like, Ken loves welding, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. That's why we're doing the welding.
All right, whatever works.
Sparks, fire.
Yeah. Man, make fire. The old hammer tuning trick, I like it.
Oh, we want to get it flush there first, right?
Yeah.
So here's our final product. I've painted this up so it's hard to see, but Ken welded up our brackets, or I should say our lower mounts. I also had to cut out a bunch of metal here in, what is this, the front?
Rad support area?
Front rad support area, yeah. So the rad's gonna actually sit right against the headlight, and it's not ideal, but there's probably about 2 millimeters of clearance, so we'll be good. And now we're gonna move up to the top where we have to take care of an issue with the water neck. Once again, K-tuned to the rescue. Check that out. That's one of their nipples. I'm not even sure if they sell this product yet. I think they may be working on something, but they had this around. And what we're gonna do is chop this guy off, plug it, and move this port onto the side here so that it's not hitting our intake manifold.
In the continuing story of K-Tune has everything we need, they have little drop brackets for mounting your radiator, which happens to work out perfectly for the way we've mounted the rad to the bottom side. And Pete's over here doing some tuning of another bracket. Why the welding mask, Ken Wagon?
We had to make a little bit of a bracket to relocate the ABS module up and away, just because if we left at a stock location, it's going to be pretty close to the header, and we don't want things to get hot. So we just move it a little bit back.
Of course, part of the engine swap is axles specifically for the swap. This car didn't come with this engine in it, so the axles are a little bit of a custom job. A lot of people like to mix and match stock components, but Hasport makes it really easy for you by making a custom length axle designed specifically for their kits. They actually have a lot of variable lengths available. This particular one is set up for this car. Now, if you're drag racing, this is really not the choice for you. I would go to somebody like Drive Shaft Shop or Insane Shafts. but for street use, these are perfect. By the way, if you're a road racer, what we recommend is you buy our bars because of the correct length, and then you get factory Honda joints on either side, and you use a high temp grease like Swapco, which is a full synthetic. And if you service those about once a year, you should be perfect for road racing. Anyway, time to put these on.
You've got a special technique figured out for this by now, I'm sure?
You know, I've done a couple of them in my life.
Yeah.
So usually I just kind of
You get it started in the
get
transmission.
it started.
Yeah.
Stick it in there.
Yeah. Put it in the hub side.
Feed in the hub side.
You kind of use the hub to push it into the gear.
Yeah, that was already seated, so I didn't need to do it. If I
Okay.
didn't, I would actually swing this like a hammer.
Yep.
To knock it in.
Yeah, I like that technique.
Anyway, pretty quick, pretty easy.
Look at that. Throw an axle nut on there.
Yeah, it's a little bit kind of easy because the fork wasn't on. Normally you'd have a shock in here with a fork and you'd have to feed it past the fork, but
We didn't
still
put those
all
in yet.
real
Yeah.
easy.
We planned ahead, didn't we?
We did. All right, so in this particular swap, they've opted to use a K-tuner ECU as opposed to the Honda, which most everybody typically uses, and that involves making a few changes. The K-tuner ECU is based on the later model RSX or the Accord ECU, so some of the things have to change. So there are a few wires that got rearranged at the E-plug. If you notice here, we did some stuff where we swapped a few things around. We are going to use a VSS out on this particular car, and then over here we added a few extra wires. We added a reverse lockout wire, and we added the VSS out wire because those aren't included on the harness. So once those are added, the next thing we need to do is address the C101 plug. Most of everything's in the same place, except there is a link for the reverse lockout that I'm going to have to add in here, so I'm going to have to search out a pin for that. On my diagram here, I have showing omitting these particular wires, and these have to do with the secondary O2 sensor, number 2 and 6. We actually decided to leave it in there because we may wind up adding in a secondary O2 sensor at some point down the road. It's a good device, you know, if you're trying to be legal and pass emissions.
Got a lot of action happening right now. Gavel's polishing. Ken and Brian are routing some wiring. Aaron is doing some excellent supervising here while Peter hooks up the this e-brake cables in here, Pete.
Yeah, e-brake cables.
Looks like Mr. Wagon is installing us some fuel lines. That's exciting. The circuit is complete on the fuel system. Ken's just tightening it all down. Nice little K-tuned wrench to go on these K-tuned lines and K-tuned fittings. Let's K-tune everything, Ken Wagon. Looks like Peter's just finishing off the e-brake cables.
Betcha.
Any challenges under there, Peter?
They're not 100% OE fit, so I don't know. Actually, I shouldn't even say that because I'm not sure if the brackets are the exact same as the Canadian SIR Civic as the SI, and obviously these trailing arms are from an Integra, so there may be slight variations where I can't get the brackets to line up to bolt to the chassis, so it's not a big deal. So that's what zip ties are for. I also got to give a shout out to Ken Wong, who got my parking brake cables for me in record time.
Nice, okay.
Thanks, Ken.
All right. Well, I'm going to consider a job done, which means it's time for the Sharpie to come over here to the board.
It just snaps in.
Scratch something off here.
You have to push it
Oh,
forward
yeah.
to unsnap it. It's like
E-brake
a white nylon.
cables.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah.
All right. That paint looks mighty fine.
It's coming along nice, huh?
Yeah.
It's really killing all the swirls.
Yeah. Now we've realized that there's some metallic flake in the paint, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, I had no idea. I thought it was a single stage.
Well, with how chalky it was before, I mean, this is no surprise that we thought that. But no, it's coming along nice. I'm pretty happy considering the time constraints.
Yeah.
It's looking pretty good.
It's not as easy as working in your own shop for sure. No, it looked great. Are you clipped in, Ken?
Just let me know when you are.
Are you on the pedal, Ken?
I'm gone. You can do whatever you need to do with it.
He's good.
Cool, thanks.
Brian was smart enough to work on the engine bay side of this job, installing the K-tuned throttle cable designed for K-swaps rather than the OEM one, which would require a little bit of a nip and tuck, as Brian was explaining. Gotta clip the end of it off or something and fiddle with it. It's time to install this Type R style lip that we got from Stage 4 Motorsports on here. I've drafted Aaron in because he's really a style expert.
I'm actually an aero expert. I went to school for that, so.
You've got your PhD in aerodynamics, don't you?
Yeah, well.
Fluid dynamics?
It's butt tuning.
Oh,
So like
butt tuning.
I can feel it like when I drive, I can tell that we're gonna get a lot of mad downforce with this,
Yeah.
and it's gonna really help with corner entry. Yeah, I think this is gonna be really nice. Best 60 bucks you can spend on a race car.
On eBay, yeah. So you've got one screw in. I'm gonna show the world how you put a self-tapping screw in here with your skilled and yet
we
surprisingly
have 4,
soft hands.
but we have 80 holes. So
Yeah, well, pick a random hole. That's what my girlfriend used to tell me.
it's left-hand drive, so we should put the other screw on the right to offset the driver weight.
I like your thinking. Yeah, bring it.
All right.
Let's see what we got here.
Let's see how this goes in.
Oh yeah, look at you. Oh, that's good screwing.
More twist than a D15.
Your aero knowledge is coming really handy on this bill.
All right, so can I get a ride to the airport now?
You're good. We'll Uber it over there. Don't worry.
Oh, jeez. Hey, is Uber up here spelled with like 4 O's?
Uber.
Uber.
I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
What?
Anything else?
I got lots of other stuff to do.
All right, Cavill, where are we at with this?
Okay, Dave. So what we've been doing is a process called paint correction, and basically what it is we're removing defects from the paint.
Okay.
So generally, there's 2 ways to kind of address this. One way is to kind of throw a layer of wax on it,
Yeah.
to kind of hide the appearance of those swirls and scratches. The other way is to actually compound and polish the paint, where you're removing actually a very, 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 very fine layer of paint or clear coat, depending on your paint system.
Okay.
What I've done on the Civic here is I put a line of tape down, and I did my correction process on one side.
Okay.
And I left the other side alone. On this side, you can see the paint's got no clarity. It looks very dull, and in fact, you really can't see the metallic flake in the paint. Yeah, so the paint's showing its age.
Sure.
So essentially, the paint correction process is designed to bring the paint back to as close as new.
Okay.
Sometimes even better than new.
You can see the line here between polished on the right and unpolished on the left, and my God, look at the difference.
Yeah. So once
It
it's
looks
hard,
wet on the right. It almost makes you wonder, did it only rain over here? What happened? That's amazing. Suspension's the one thing I actually enjoy working on cars, because it's like 2 nuts and 3 bolts and you're done, and then I get to do the fun stuff, which is try to make the car go fast. Ken thought he had it all figured out, putting it in one piece, but I educated him.
I'm pretty sure I told you to do that.
I said, no, bro, you got to take that off there. And now he's going to try to make it sound like that was his idea.
There we go.
We know the truth is, I had to straighten him out on that.
Right.
So yeah, we can just pretend that this is done now. You can go shoot your side, and we'll say that I did that one.
I'm pretty sure I don't need to shoot my side because
You're done.
I'm already done and it told you what you needed to do.
Pretty cool little knob. I like turning knobs, and this is one for the shock valve adjustment on the K1 Street coilover system. I like the way it just drops in the hole here. And you've got 32 positions to stiffen or soften them. So I think they're set to full soft, so I can't go left. So I got 32 clicks to the right if I want to go to full hard. That could take a while, so I'm actually going to leave the fronts at full soft, just for the street.
Typical for a guy your age.
Yeah, I like a full soft ride on the street. Actually, I'll give it 2 clicks towards hardness. Then I can pull it out again and either put it in my pocket, or I can orient it for, hard parking, the direction I want. Drop it in the hole there, and she's good to go. Installing the K-tuned idler pulley.
That's what it's called, Ken?
Yeah, it replaces the where the stock power steering location is. So it's just relocated on the bottom.
So this lets us use like a standard length belt, I guess. Is that right?
Ish.
Is that true? True. We have a belt. We do. So with that bolted up, you're gonna put a belt on this sucker, huh? Ken Wagon showing off the fabrication skills today, huh? Welding up brackets.
Want it done.
You're not gonna be able to pull that through,
I know,
unfortunately.
I'm trying,
so you
but-
can just chop it.
Chop it.
Chop, chop, chop. Yeah, look at that. We got our power steering reservoir set up now.
Mm-hmm.
In such a great location.
That
Ken
is
had to
a
do a bunch of fabricating and welding,
I'll just cut
but
longer.
it all came out.
Nice work, Ken Wagon. 2 thumbs up from me and from Peter. Me and from Peter. Oh, there you go. All right. You've been in here for some time now.
Fair moment.
Some effort is being made.
Yes, it is.
The challenge, I suppose, is to mate the engine harness to the chassis harness. Is that what's happening under here?
Yeah, some of it comes through a plug that interfaces with the old engine harness. So a lot of stuff gets done there, but there are a few functions that actually have to be kind of tapped into existing wires that don't really have an easy connector. So that's what I'm doing. Of course, we also ran a fan switch, kind of like a backup.
Okay.
So that we could make sure that our fan turned on, although that function is actually available inside the ECU. And the other thing is the make sure the temperature sensor we got in there gets back to the dash so the gauge has an idea of what's going on.
I think the K-Tube guys are getting sick of us being here because they're pitching in now. They're like, let's get these guys done. I want to go home.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that sounded good. Victory. Total victory.
We got it.
What is this mess, Peter? What have you done?
We're just tuning some heater hoses. That's as simple as it comes. But we have been doing.
If it's so
I have
simple,
been
how
doing
come
this
it's taken
like,
for an hour.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 40 minutes. See how it goes, man. That's how it goes.
Is he making it look simple, guys?
Oh yeah, pretty simple. The editing makes it look simple.
Yeah, exactly. We had some challenges because of the rad positioning being out of ordinary. None of the standard hoses would fit. So we've been raiding K-Tune's bin of rad hoses and cutting and slicing and joining with a piece of tube, and we're gonna make it work. Voila! Another win.
Day 5 is done, but sadly we are not.
We still have some work to do. We haven't put the wheels and tires on the car yet, which should give you an idea of we're still being a ways off.
Yep.
What's left to do in there?
We need to put the computer in. We need to load the program in. We need to fire it up.
Put some fluids in it, maybe?
Oh yeah, might
Bleed
want to put some
brakes.
fluids in first.
Bleed the brakes, bleed the clutch.
Exhaust.
We
Exhaust.
have to build an exhaust system. Yeah, so we're a little ways off.
Yep.
I think it's safe to say that our 5-day track build challenge has turned into a 6-day track build challenge. And that's okay. Because on the 7th day,
We'll rest.
no, we will rip VTEC. On the 7th day, we shall rip VTEC.
Listen, we're borrowing a shop today. I know this doesn't have a guard. I had enough of it. Not my problem. Okay?
Please,
Anyways.
everyone in the comment section, let Ken know that you're concerned about his safety.
I got eye protection. I got wadded towel in my ear.
As safe as it's going to get under these circumstances.
I don't care anymore.